The text glowed on my phone screen, each word cutting a little deeper. Your sister Kate is bringing her new fiancé, and we don't want any tension. I stared at the message, memories of 15 Christmas parties flashing before my eyes, 15 years of hosting elaborate celebrations in my restored Victorian home, of cooking meals that took days, decorating every corner until the place sparkled. All dismissed with one short text. I'm Emma Sullivan, 38, and I'd just been uninvited from the very Christmas party I'd hosted since I was 23. The irony stung. My family wanted peace and simplicity in Kate's tiny apartment instead of my spacious house, the same home they once called too much for a single woman. Perfect, I typed back, my hand steady despite the ache. Enjoy your holidays. Mom replied instantly. Don't be difficult, Emma. You know how intense you can get. Kate just wants a quiet celebration this year. Intense. That word again. My passion for details, my drive to make everything beautiful, always labeled as too much. When I restored this old house. Intense. When my baking hobby grew into a successful online channel. Intense. When I threw unforgettable holiday events that brought the whole neighborhood together. Definitely intense. I set my phone down and looked around the undecorated living room. It was only November 30th, but I could already see it, the glittering tree, the vintage ornaments I'd repaired, the angel topper that always made the room glow. My phone buzzed again. You're not upset, are you? We just think it's Kate's turn. Mark's family is very traditional. Traditional. Right. My sister who switched careers every 2 years. My parents who never once hosted Christmas dinner. I opened my banking app, smiled, and typed back, no worries. I've got other plans. And I did. Plans already in motion. Plans that would make this Christmas unforgettable for reasons my family couldn't imagine. The next morning, I made 2 calls. The first to Olivia, my friend who ran the local children's home. Everything's ready, she said. The kids can't wait. Are you sure about this, Emma? More sure than ever, I told her, warmth flooding my chest. The second call was to my agent, yes, my agent, another thing my family mocked as too intense. The contract's signed, she said. The Food Network loved your Christmas special idea. Filming starts next week. 3 unread texts blinked from Mom. What other plans? Are you traveling? Emma, please answer. I set the phone to silent and pulled out my holiday planning notebook, the same one Kate once called obsessive. Inside weren't menus and place settings this time, but something better. Something meaningful. A knock interrupted my thoughts. Mrs. Anderson from next door stood there with a tin of cookies. Emma, dear, she said, I heard you're not hosting Christmas this year. The whole neighborhood looks forward to your parties. I smiled, taking the tin. Don't worry, Mrs. Anderson. The party isn't cancelled, it's just going to be different. Very different. Minutes later, another text popped up. This time from Kate. Mom's worried you're mad. Don't be dramatic, sis. Mark's family likes things simple. I traced the list in my notebook with my finger. Simple wasn't in my vocabulary, and soon, everyone would understand why that wasn't a flaw. While they planned their quiet dinner, I built something magical. For 2 weeks, my home became a winter wonderland. The Food Network crew filmed every sparkle, every ribbon. This, I told the camera, gesturing toward the towering tree, is our wish tree. Each ornament holds a child's Christmas dream. The producer wiped away tears as I showed her the handwritten wishes from Olivia's kids, each transformed into glittering decorations. Meanwhile, Kate's texts grew sharper. Mom says you're ignoring us. Are you trying to make me look bad? I laughed softly. Last year, she said my Christmas dinner was too showy. Now, my absence was the problem. Soon, the local paper picked up the story, local chef creates Christmas miracle for orphans. Mom called within minutes. Emma, what is this? Are you doing this to spite us? No, Mom, I said, watching volunteers set up the light display. I'm doing this because while you want peace, 30 children have never known a real Christmas. Silence. Then, but, what about family? Exactly, I said quietly. What about family? Later, Dad left a voicemail. Princess, your sister's upset. She thinks you're stealing her thunder. Just come to her apartment instead of, whatever this is. I was reviewing logistics with Olivia when the doorbell rang again. Kate. She froze in the doorway, her eyes wide at the sight of the transformed house. What is all this? Every room glowed, dining tables set for 35 kids, the living room anchored by the massive wish tree, the kitchen ready for baking lessons. This, I said, gesturing around us, is what Christmas should be about, not silence and control, but joy and giving. Her gaze shifted toward the Food Network van outside. Are you filming this? I am, I said simply. Turns out my intensity is exactly what they wanted. The special airs Christmas Eve. Her face flushed. So this is about showing us up. Making us look bad for wanting something simple. I shook my head and handed her a folder filled with photos and wish lists from the children. No, Kate. This is about giving them the kind of Christmas I used to create for us. Before it became too much for everyone. She flipped through the pages, her anger fading to guilt. Emma. You should go, I said softly. Mark's traditional family is waiting. After she left, Olivia whispered, your sister looked stunned. She's not the only one who'll be surprised, I said, checking off the final box in my planner. Everything was perfect. That night, Mom called again. Emma, honey, maybe we were wrong. Your house has always been perfect for Christmas, maybe we could. Sorry, Mom, I interrupted gently. Everything's arranged. The kids are counting on this. The Food Network's filming tomorrow. I could hear her hesitation, the realization setting in that their simple Christmas wouldn't be the one people remembered. But, we're family, she said softly. Yes, I replied, smiling as the first snow began to fall outside the window. And family means accepting what makes each of us special, not shutting it out. My phone buzzed again, but this time I didn't look. The cameras rolled, the lights shimmered, and laughter filled my once silent home. This year's Christmas wasn't just mine, it belonged to every child who finally got their miracle. Kate appeared suddenly. I should mark the folder. He asked if more volunteers were needed for the children's celebration. I smiled, jotting his name down. Perhaps some traditions were worth preserving, just not in the way my family had once expected. Eve arrived with a fresh blanket of snow, turning my Victorian home into something straight out of a storybook. The Food Network crew captured every detail as children from the home arrived in small groups, their eyes wide with awe. Welcome to Party Magic, I said, greeting each child. My heart warmed at their expressions. The house had been transformed beyond even my own imagination. Every room glimmered with lights, each corner thoughtfully arranged to create lasting memories. My phone had been unusually quiet over the past few days. After Kate's fiancé and Mark volunteered, something had shifted. He'd spent several evenings helping with setup, clearly amazed by the scale of what we were orchestrating. Your sister talks about simple celebrations, he said one night. But this is what a party should be. The special began airing at 7 p.m. I was too busy with the children to watch, but Olivia kept me updated on the social media buzz. Our small town trended nationwide as viewers shared emotional responses to seeing the children's dreams come true. At 8 p.m., the doorbell rang. I opened it to see Kate, tears glistening in her eyes. I just watched the special, she whispered. Emma, I'm so sorry. We were wrong. All these years we called you intense when you were simply magical. Behind her, my parents stood, both ashamed and struck silent. My mother clutched her handkerchief, while my father couldn't stop gazing at the joy-filled scene through the front windows. The way those children look at you, my mother said softly, it's the same way you used to look when planning every party before we complained it was too much. I watched them quietly, taking in their faces. The children decorated cookies in the kitchen, laughter spilling from the living room, happiness radiating from every corner. Peace comes in many forms, I said at last. Sometimes in quiet, sometimes in the chaos of joy. My father stepped forward, hugging me tightly. Princess, we forgot what a party really means. Can you forgive us? Before I could reply, a young girl from the home ran up. Miss Emma, come quick. Tommy just found his wish ornament on the tree. I smiled at my family. Would you like to see what real party magic looks like? They followed me inside, where shy 8-year-old Tommy clutched his ornament, hands trembling. Inside was a note granting his greatest wish, adoption by a loving family, ready to surprise him tonight. As Tommy sank into his new parents' arms, tears filled the room. The Food Network crew documented every moment while my mother gripped my hand tightly. "This is what you do," she whispered. "You make dreams real." Kate moved through the room, helping children decorate cookies, while Mark led a group in holiday carols. My father found himself surrounded by eager listeners, his usual reserve melting as he shared stories with them. Later, my mother found me in a quiet corner. "When we said we wanted peace this Christmas," she said, "we thought it meant simplicity and quiet. But this," she gestured to the joy-filled rooms. "This is real peace, watching dreams come true, witnessing love in action." "That's all I've ever wanted," I replied. Every Christmas, every celebration, was about making magic real. The evening wound down with hot chocolate and carols. The children, tired but joyful, returned to the home, except Tommy, who left with his new family. The Food Network crew packed up, promising this would become a holiday tradition. As my family prepared to leave, Kate hugged me tightly. "Our simple party tomorrow seems small now," she admitted. "Any chance your intense sister and her magical house could host instead?" I laughed, pulling out my planning notebook. "I might just prepare for that possibility." My father chuckled. "Of course you did, princess. You always think of everything." Party day arrived. My family gathered once more in my Victorian home. This time, there was no criticism of my planning, no complaints about excess, only appreciation for the magic attention to detail can create. They understood that sometimes the grandest gestures bring the deepest peace and that family means embracing what makes each person unique. As we sat for dinner, my mother raised her glass. "To Emma," she said, "who showed us that peace isn't in simplicity alone, but in the joy of creating magic for others." I smiled, looking around at my transformed family. Sometimes, the most precious gifts come wrapped in unexpected lessons.